Okay. So today my topic is about pit bulls as pets and why you should adopt one. My family, being pit bull owners, are very big advocates for pit bulls because there are so many pit bulls in the shelters that end up getting euthanized because they don't have space or they don't have the when they don't have the funds to do anything about them. So, pit bull beginnings, they originated in the UK, and they were originally bull baiting dogs. So bull baiting was when a person were to go out and get a bigger animal like a bull or a bear, and they would send that bull or bear into the ring, and that ring had maybe 4 or 5 dogs, and those dogs were made to latch onto that bigger animal's face until they submitted. So in the 1800s, baiting became illegal, and when that became illegal, dogs were turned on to other dogs, and that's when dog fighting began. So because baiting was outlawed, like I said, dog fighting began, and that's when dogs were turned onto other dogs until one of them was left standing. They also made them a big wager, and that's why it's kind of a black market thing. So bull baiting dogs were crossed with other smaller breeds like terriers for agility, sleekness, and athletics. And they were also made so that they were faster and just able to get to each other quicker and to be more nasty. Eventually, dogfighting became banned through all the states, and in the 80s it resurfaced. So, breeding, when they breeded pit bulls, they were mainly made for fighting, for dog fighting, which was one of the worst reasons, and then there was also for work dogs, companionship, and protection. Fighting pit bulls their aggression was not towards humans. Their aggression was towards the other dogs. So when they were aggressive towards humans, people would take care of it in a certain stance. So if a pit bull lashed out on a human, they would either be killed or they'd be punished. But they also found out that if you crossbreed a pit bull with another pet, such as a lab, they tend to lose those aggressive traits. So, pit bulls in the news, these are some of the cases that pit bulls were mentioned. Not necessarily bad cases, but cases in general. So, during World War I, they used them as propaganda, and they were actually used in the war. So, when pit bulls were good in that era, pit bull became a nickname for all those amazing athletes out there, and that was the highest compliment that you could get. There was one attack in the early 80s, but involving a pit bull, but it wasn't because of the pit bull getting mad at someone else. It was because a man induced 26 other dogs along with that pit bull to attack a woman. So he maybe, I guess, made them mad and poked them or hit them until they lashed out on that woman, and she eventually died from all the mauling of the 26 dogs, and she was dead, and he was found guilty of manslaughter. So in the 60s, people bought pit bulls for protection. In 1971, the United States Postal Service passed a bill for any injuries caused by dogs. Any dogs.
That's funny.
Not necessarily a pit bull.
Mm-hmm.
And most of their cases were more of the smaller dogs, like Shih Tzus and Jack Russell Terriers. So that's why I think it's kind of funny. In 1977, the New York Times reported a Great Dane attack on a child. In 1987, there was a pit bull attack on a marijuana farm. And in that farm that pit bull was guarding, he ended up mauling a 2.5-year-old child to death.
What was it?
So, aggression in pit bulls. It all goes back to the 1980s when dog fighting came back. Despite being illegal in all 50 states, dog fighting was held underground in the black market. And people did wagers, along with cockfighting. And apparently, for some reason, pit bull was the dog of choice. Of course, you can't see someone fighting 2 golden retrievers, so they were not trained to be aggressive unless the owner decided that. And they're not dangerous, but they could be with a lack of training. But if you train them well and you give them respect and your time, then they have no aggression. And pit bulls have a very high temperament passing. So it means they have a high tolerance of patience. And they actually had a higher tolerance between all the other dogs that were studied. So, Shih Tzus and Terriers and Collies, they had a lower temperament, And they don't have locking jaws, despite what you may think. They just have the strongest jaw muscles out of all dogs.
That lock.
They do not lock. Okay. Why you should adopt. So, euthanasia is the highest with pit bulls. It's a 93% rate. And like I said earlier, there are not many people adopting them, so because they don't have the funds to help fix them or to, get them adopted or put them in a sanctuary, they have to be euthanized to make more space for adoptable dogs. And they're so affectionate. They're one of the most affectionate breeds, and it's actually been shown that they are not good guard dogs because they have so much love for people. They're very low maintenance. All you have to do is give them your attention and the occasional brush because they shed a lot. They also have very low chances of genetic disorders, which is hip dysplasia in puppies, but other than that, not very high in genetic disorders. They're very active, so if you're a very active person, it's great for you. And they're very sociable dogs. They always want to come up to you and get on top of you and lick you. So it's really bad if you don't want them to lick you. So this is not the dog for you if you don't want it. But they are very loyal, so they will do anything to protect you, unless an intruder comes in the house. And that's my presentation.